Hello there, everybody. It's Penny, and I'm here, and it's time for Cat Chat with me. And I apologize, I did not update the titles and such for this chat. So, dang. And I just realized I did that. That's all right. What we're going to talk about today, I'm a bit discombobulated. Is that the right word? But today for Cat Chat, we're going to talk about teeth. And we're going to talk about it for two reasons. One is because I got bit last week, and two, it's because besides working with cats, I work with fossil teeth all the time. So it it felt like something I should talk about. Um, but first, I'd like to know where you are. Tell me where you are, where you're watching from, what you're up to. No, you don't have to tell me what you're up to, but I'd sure like to know where you're watching from. Say hello, and so on, because by golly, I want to know where you are so that I know where my audience is and who I'm talking to and be the most helpful person I can be. But anyway, we're going to talk about something else today. We oftentimes talk about cat behavior and stuff, but what we're going to talk about today is teeth. Because cats bite, and that's okay. So, and I don't know. I have this is a little cat skull. It's missing its canines, but it's a cat skull. Hello. And it's one of many skulls that I have because I'm a vertebrate paleontologist and I study fossil mammals, and I specifically study fossil mammal teeth. So I thought, why not? So teeth. Teeth are pretty cool. I also like to show this. This is one of my favorite things to show people. This is the skull of a saber-toothed tiger. Okay, I have to put it way back here in order for you to be able to see it. This is a cast. This is not a real skull. Now you can see the tag here. You can buy your own for $600 from Bone Clones. But this is also a cat, a true cat. And the cool thing about mammals, unlike just about every other vertebrate out there, those animals with bones, is that we can tell what a mammal was eating based on its teeth. Pretty cool. Our teeth, we look at our own mouths, we presumably look at them a lot, and we see we have these flat ones in the front that are wedge-shaped for biting, and then we have the flat, sort of squarish ones in the back we use for chewing. And that says something about what we eat. We are actually pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Non-specific about what we eat. We eat whatever, okay? But if we look at something like, some of these are real skulls. This is a real skull. This is a sheep skull. Yes. And if we look at its teeth, we see they're flat. They have flat surface on them. And these are teeth for grinding up vegetable matter like grass. So they're grazers. And then we can look at something like this coyote. And we see these big canines on here. And we say, oh yeah, this is a carnivore. But here's the deal. Just because something has big pointy canines doesn't mean it's a carnivore. There's a better way to tell. But it requires seeing all of the teeth. I mean, baboons will also eat meat, but there are lots of things that will eat meat that have big canines, but also will eat just whatever it can get their little mouths on. Like, this is a cast of a bear skull, and it has big canines too, but this is sort of an omnivore, eats a little bit of everything. So how do we tell? What are we looking for? Well, here's what we're actually looking for. Now, I like using the coyote. I've taken the lower jaw off. Here's the coyote. This is just like a dog. So if you have a pet dog, this is what their teeth look like, okay? They have the incisors in the front. This guy is missing a couple, but they have the incisors in the front. Then they have the big pointy canine. And then they have a bunch of these interesting pointy teeth. And most importantly, they have, let's see if I can turn this over a little bit. They have this tooth right here. Notice that it's kind of blade shaped. All right, and then they have these other teeth in the back here that are kind of flat surface for grinding. And the lower jaw, it's really similar. This coyote is missing a bunch of teeth, but they have also this big blade-shaped tooth on the bottom as well. And they come together like a pair of scissors. And those blade-like teeth right here are for cutting up meat as they're eating. So this is a carnivorous mammal. If we look at the bear, we notice it doesn't have those blade-like teeth. They're actually more shaped like our teeth. They're flat. And that's indicative of an animal that, even though it has big pointy canines, is not primarily a meat eater. Although, I mean, of the bears, truest carnivore. The rest of them are sort of omnivorous, eat whatever. Another animal that frequently gets confused for dogs or coyotes or cats is this. This is a raccoon. Has the big canines, but remember the canines aren't the giveaway. If we look at its teeth, it does not have the big blade-like teeth. These are all pretty flat teeth. All right. So raccoons also, I mean, they dig through your garbage. All right. If we look at the saber-toothed tiger, the saber-toothed tiger definitely has that blade-like tooth, just like the dog. The other thing about the saber-toothed tiger, which is a true cat, and also this, I've taken the lower jaw off of it, this is that other cat, is when we look at its teeth, I'm having a hard time seeing, it has that blade-like tooth, but unlike the dog, it doesn't have those teeth behind. So if we compare this cat and this coyote, can line up their teeth, and you see that behind the blade-like tooth of the coyote, there's a couple of really big chewing flat teeth, and behind the blade-like tooth of the cat, there's really no extra teeth, and that's important. All right, I have been not clicking my little clicky thingies. So we've been talking about teeth of carnivores, right? So what we're talking about is this blade-like tooth here. I'm pointing, got to point to the correct one. There we go. Can you see that? I'm hoping you can see that. That blade-like tooth right there. Turn it around. This side maybe shows it a little better. This blade-like tooth right here. Eee! That is a blade-like tooth. Unlike our teeth, which tend to be flat on the bottom. And these snip against a blade-like tooth on the bottom like a pair of scissors. Pretty cool stuff. So those blade-like teeth are called the carnassials. And you probably can see them the best again in this dog. You can see the two of them right here. They come together and they act like a pair of scissors. Yes, this is squeaking. It is not because it's a pair of scissors, because the bone is squeaking, but they cut like a pair of scissors. And if you see, when we look at the dog again, we can see that behind the carnassial tooth, they have these other two teeth that are kind of flat for chewing. And what that tells us about the dog, about coyotes, about wolves, because wolves are this way as well, your dog is like this, is that they can eat. They are carnivores, but they also have other options. Okay. But in the cat, they don't have any of those teeth behind. They're not there. And what that means is that cats are hyper-carnivores or hyper-carnivory. But in the end, what that means is that cats aren't very well adapted to eat anything but meat. So what does that mean? Well, it's something for you to think about. Yes, cats do go out and eat grass if their stomach's upset or whatever. But yeah, the teeth are designed for whatever. Or in cats, they're very much carnivores. That's what they do. They eat meat. They hunt. They eat meat. And well, if we look at our saber-tooth tiger, you yeah, that I mean, this is the ultimate in carnivore with these big old canines, and they're still debating about what and how saber-tooth tigers use the canines because they do kind of you can imagine or look at how big this mouth has to open for them to be able to use the canines. That's a whole nother mystery that I could talk about some other day. But if we again look at the bear, for example, I'm pointing with one tooth at the other. This blade-like tooth just doesn't exist. They don't have the carnassials, so they're not obligate carnivores. They're not hypercarnivores. Cats are hypercarnivores. Dogs are carnivores. Raccoons, raccoons don't really have that blade-like tooth either. This particular raccoon had a broken tooth. But yeah, this would be their blade-like tooth right here where my finger is. And that is definitely not a blade-like tooth. So there's that. So when you're thinking about what you're feeding your cats, so we'll bring this back to behavior and taking care of cats, just for giggles. When you're thinking about what you're feeding your cat, there's some argument out there about, oh, I want my cat to be vegan because I'm vegan, or no, you should never give them plants because they're carnivores. I don't really want to enter into that debate, but what I am going to suggest is that based on the anatomy, these animals are carnivores. That they are primarily adapted to go out and hunt and eat. So that's what they do. They like to chew, slice things up. So meat would be what they'd find in nature. Now, when you get foods, I know some of the foods I get have little flakes of vegetables in them or rice or something, and people go, "Oh, no, but that's no, not good. They're carnivores." The other thing I always want to add to this is that the people who are designing these foods are scientists, trained scientists, nutritionists. They know quite well what what cats are eating and how the cats can digest the foods and what is best for them. So I don't question, for especially for the large food manufacturers, I'm certain that the foods meet the dietary requirements of most cats. Now, that might not be your cat, and you might want to go with something that's more natural or more, fully meat based and grain free and all of that. That's great. But I wouldn't freak out to say, oh, this commercial cat food isn't good for my cat because I saw spinach in it. Um, that's all I got to say about that. So anyway, that's what we have for today. Oh, a couple things. Just an update because I was thinking about getting bit. My wrist is fine now. Yeah. So this is where I got bit by the cat. It's bruised still. He bit me really hard. And originally I was going to talk about how strong our jaw muscles are and how we actually have the strength in our jaw muscles to break our teeth, but there's nerves in our teeth, so we don't do that. He was biting hard enough that it was bad. But I'm fine. Antibiotics are working. I do not enjoy taking the antibiotics. I will definitely do the complete course of them. I hate taking antibiotics. They really don't sit well with me, but what are you going to do? It's better than this thing puffed up. It was terrible. It was absolutely awful. But it's fine now, and my wrist is working fine now. Just itches a lot. The other thing I have going on right now, which I will drop a link for, I think. No, I'm not going to go see myself live, but here we go. Let me grab copy link. Right now, I am. New House is struggling just a little bit financially. So actually, that's not the link I wanted to drop. Let me try a different link. The link I want is not that one. Where did it go? No, that's not the right link either. I want to see the comments. There it is. copy link address. If you have it, um, willing to think about it, I would appreciate it. Oh, are you serious? This is just not going well right now. Everything is going poorly. Here we go. I'm going to drop this link in here. Okay. Okay. I just dropped a link to the support us page for Mew Mew House. So Cat Chat is part of Mew Mew House, and we've had some unexpected bills this past few weeks, not least of which is me having to go to the urgent care. And if you're from the United States, you know that our healthcare system is pretty bad, and I wound up paying out of pocket for my care. I mean, the paying out of pocket was better than dealing with not dealing with it. Probably would be in the emergency room by now. So I'm glad I did that. And but if you have a couple extra dollars, we sure would appreciate your financial help. And